Hey guys, Lorena Magana here with New Filmmakers Los Angeles. Today, I'm talking to director Jason Lester about his new film, Red on White. Let's take a look at a clip from the film.
Who are the others?
They're cool. They're with me. Promise.
I'm Jar.
Jar.
You like cartoons?
I like the classics.
Sample.
So Red on White is the story of three high school kids who go to a privileged private school in the Calabasas area, and one of them hatches a plan to bring cocaine to the area and to supply the school with it. And when he brings his best friend Travis in on it, their lives kind of combust as they get sucked further into this darkening world of drugs, and they're also involved in a bit of a complicated relationship between the three friends with Travis's girlfriend as well as Alex, the one who hatches the plan. So everything kind of spirals out of control.
How did you come up with the concept behind your film?
I actually went to high school in the area, so at the time I was reading a lot of Bret Easton Ellis and interested in his kind of depictions of the LA private school atmosphere. And I wrote a short story back in, I think when I was in 11th grade, and never really did anything with it, kind of sat on it for a few years. And then later on, I looked back at it when I was going through some old stuff, and I thought it might be interesting to touch it up, revise it, and make something out of it. So that was the initial genesis of the screenplay for the short.
It's a very stylized film. Who are your influences in filmmaking?
Yeah, well, my style in general as a filmmaker has been heavily influenced by 60s art house. A lot of my favorite filmmakers came out of the French New Wave, and even though the film doesn't really have a lot to do with that plot-wise, I think some of the stylistic influences of Alain Resnais and filmmakers like that have always kind of been foundational for what I've been doing. So the kind of nonlinear narratives, fractured editing, and some of the symbolism kind of creeping into the story have been things that I've always liked to play with.
What's the significance of the title, Red on White?
The title was actually the title of the short story, and it was one of the first things that came to me. I liked the sound of it, and I thought that it had kind of an interesting image of corruption and a kind of stark contrast between things creeping together. So I never really went further with it than that. It was kind of a nice image that I liked for the story, and I thought just had a fitting ring for the film.
Was it always your intention to have the main female character end up the way that she does in the film?
Yeah, and that was something that came from the story as well, which when I first wrote it actually had a kind of number of interlocked styles. So there were a combination of kind of diary entries, stream of consciousness, a kind of third-person omniscient narrator, and she had been kind of the linchpin between all the different narratives. So I always had that in mind for her, and she always kind of played the same role in the story.